it becomes an activity that is forbidden. Suddenly you can learn nothing more by copying, and it is renamed cheating. If there was a graph for measuring copying against age and acceptability,
you take cash or check?
it would look something like this. Acceptable at the top and unacceptable at the bottom. And life's milestones running along the side. We can see that it is acceptable to copy when you're a baby, and as soon as you reach school, the acceptability of copying plummets and continues to plummet throughout secondary school. And by the time we get to university, it's completely unacceptable. During the project, I've examined copying from socio-cultural and political standpoints in design practice and education, particularly within creative fields. Copying is a taboo, and I want to change that. Study it and validate it. With new media, reproduction is ingrained in culture. Websites like YouTube allow us to embrace this phenomenon and aid copy enthusiasts, opening up creative spaces in the form of memes. Remixes, reenactments and parodies are prolific throughout the internet.
The bloody.
I'm sorry, the man. Two species separated by 65 million years of evolution thrown back into the mix.
Mr. Steve Jobs.
Although the internet is a catalyst for copying, I felt I also wanted to explore it on a more behavioural level, the way children do when they copy their parents and friends. Before I continue, I feel I should backtrack so you can understand the underpinnings and formulation of the project, and the beginnings of an interesting, wiggly and sometimes confusing journey in which my process has led me to the building of an ideology and a personal outlook. I began the year rebelling against the formalities of the course. I decided to ignore these formal procedures and just start producing stuff. I've developed a working process. I've honed the observational and technical skills needed to assist an interesting foundation for a project. I was producing thick and fast, but nothing was really going anywhere. It was around this time I was photographing vast amounts of bollards. I decided to present them in a slideshow that massively overshot the allocated presentation time and bored everyone to death. This is the first time I was playing with format and ambling down a conceptual road that got me to where I am now. After drifting about for some time, studying the Situationist International and paying homage to Patrick Keeler's Robinson films, I kind of felt like my ideas were drying up. In the spur of the moment, I sent a month's Facebook post to a bunch of course mates that read, "I'm going to steal your ideas." This got quite a reaction from people, some quite unsettled by this, while others confronted me on the issue. At first, what was meant as a silly joke ended up readjusting my thinking. Inspired by the reaction on Facebook, I decided to explore this idea further, which took the form of an experimental video. What's happening here is a discussion of an idea that three people were presenting. I then recorded myself saying exactly what the individuals were saying. This was clearly interesting, but quite hard to decipher the meaning, and it was not until the second iteration of the video and the viewing of the video in a public space that we start to get an idea of what's happening. I think the idea is quite clear. At the same time, with a bit, it's grounded as well. So we're saying here's this future. You can imagine it within your future at the same time. Think about it within today's, not just blue sky thinking about it, but actually grounded in reality. This is what appears to be happening. The characters are discussing an idea or intellectual property within an open forum. A third party comes along and copies this intellectual property. What the copying does here is shocks the individual, sterilises the human behaviour by removing body language, eye contact and gesture. It takes what was said out of context, draws attention to flaws in speech, which in turn heightens self-consciousness. There is also an added condition of the subjects being surrounded by friends and seniors, which all exaggerates the effect the copying has on the individual. That's the initial shock factor wears off. Most of the subject respond more positively. I've reconstructed the video in a manner of ways, first getting the individuals to reenact the event.
Living ecosystems, and all these different parts of industry, like just society in general.
Some are obviously more comfortable than others. I've also translated it into various languages, and then into an animation. Through constant repetition,